Okay, so let's say that you finished creating the 9 required patterns, and in this case, to speed things along, I just took 2 of Photoshop's existing patterns. This is one of their legacy patterns, which was quite popular. It still pops up from time to time. You may see it sometimes. It is from Photoshop. This program is IrfanView. I tend to use it on Windows machines. It does better previewing than the default Windows previewer. Ask me about that if you want to find out how to get a copy. They're free. It's great. Just amazing software. All right, back at Photoshop. So for this part, just in case I grabbed the wrong instruction sheet or these instructions are outdated, what you're going to want to do is take your own instruction sheet, print that thing out. If you need to print out another copy, just bring that up, get that going. And I'm going to follow along and see exactly what this is. So notice one of the last paragraphs here is, once you are happy with your pattern, close them in Photoshop. Go to wherever you saved them and move a copy of your 9 favorite individual patterns into a folder you can easily locate. I've done that. I've got a folder called Finished Patterns sitting right on my desktop called in a folder called Spring 2018. Copy that. Oh, that's right. So in your version of Photoshop, you cannot paste this down. I think I've got mine set the same way. You actually have to navigate through a very slow thing. So I'll just remember it. Desktop Pattern Spring 2018 Finished Patterns. Come on over to Photoshop. Go back to the instructions. Go to File, Automate, Contact Sheet 2. And mine's going to look a little different than yours since this is an older version of Photoshop, but it's the same kind of deal. Contact Sheet 2. There we go. Behold, use a folder. Why, yes, please. Choose the terrible ancient dialogue that they have. I wish they'd get rid of that. And we're going to go to the Spring 2018 patterns, go to Finished Patterns, so okay. So we don't really need to include the subfolders, so we'll ignore that. We'll uncheck that. And we are going to create a 6x6 300 DPI sheet containing all of your textures. Notice I didn't have to make anything new. The contact sheet will just create that new document, so I'm working in just an empty Photoshop. That's fine. All right, we're going to set our size to 6 inches by 6 inches. 6 inches, I know it's inches, by 6 inches, 300 pixels per inch, so that's 300 DPI. RGB color, for the mode, I believe that's what I wanted. 8-bit depth, and sRGB IC 1966-2.1. That's the color profile. We'll be talking about that at a later date. It has to do with how the file is presented on monitors. Okay, so you're supposed to uncheck flatten all layers and then merge down until you get to the background. So we'll do that. If you forget this, if you leave it checked, you can just go Control-Z and go back one step. That's fine too. All right. It can go across or down. It's all good. We're not going to do auto spacing though. We're going to do 0.014 inches. We're going to have 3 columns by 3 rows. All right, that should do it. And we do not want to use file names as a caption. So this is getting cut off on the screen. Make sure that this is not checked. You do not want to use file name for caption at all. Like, that'll mess this up. If you have that, if you've got that file name checked, everything will be weird looking. You'll have little titles under it. Don't do that. Okay. If you see that, come back to this step, make the contact sheet again. Otherwise, you're going to be marked down so many points. Because again, a big part of this is just to make sure that this goes on. So we have unchecked, use file name for caption. And here we go. Watch this chug along. Voila. Now we have all these patterns. Fantastic. But we have 2. This doesn't look at all like how we want it to look. What we want is to have Control-E, apply, Control-E, apply. I'm just applying the layer masks that are on there. Control-E, apply, Control-E, apply, Control-E, apply, Control-E, apply, Control-E, apply, Control-E, apply. Cool. So now we have this guy right here. And how do I want this named? Check your sheet. On mine, it says contact sheet and bottom layer background. Bottom layer background. Beautiful. So I've got these 2 layers. Very cool, very cool. But that's not enough for me to grade. That's just a big chunk of your grade, but not everything. So this, and I make a note that this is a great way to present your work, terrible way to store it because the contact sheet will resize the image or could resize the image. So keep a copy of the individual patterns. So we're going to make new patterns with each of the pieces. This little black-white icon, the adjustment layer icon, it fill it with a pattern. Hey, there's one of the patterns. I don't need the, it's okay if you leave them, but I don't need these masks. So I'm just going to delete it while I'm in there because why keep it around? All right, pattern, grab a different one. And clean that out too. Pattern, you've got to do this for all 9 patterns. And it will take a little while. Again, this is not a fast assignment. Pattern. Notice this has some banding going on. You can see that, well, not really, it kind of does. If this were smaller, it would have some banding going on. Let me demonstrate that real quick. See that extra pattern coming in that's appearing? That's banding. You don't want that. So you want to leave these all at 100%, by the way, because if you think that you're going to make another pattern just by shrinking it, that does not make another pattern. You got to make an all new pattern. Got to do this 9 times. So that is 4 of them. Pattern. Did we not define a pattern of our gravel? We did not define a pattern of your gravel. And you got to make sure you have the actual patterns that are in here. So we need that gravel pattern. So I'm going to go File, Open. I'm going to go to the gravel pattern. Forgot to define this last time. I'm going to go to Edit, Define Pattern. Gravel pattern. Cool. Now, you might have to do this if you're taking breaks between it too. Pattern. Gravel pattern. Notice that I did need to clean up kind of that dark area. I didn't do that. It's getting that repeat, blop, 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 blop. Got to finish all of that up so that it will be nice and clean for the assignment. I'm going to make this really tightly done. Get all of the points. Get all the points, guys. You can do it. I know you can. Doing great work at the start of the semester, and we want you to keep that up. Just some fantastic stuff coming out of this class. So I want to keep seeing that. Let's see. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And these are just Photoshop default patterns. These are not my patterns. Don't try to get away with that. I have seen all the Photoshop patterns. Don't even start with Photoshop patterns. Just make your own stuff. you want to try to get them all done, even if you just end up making a couple of squiggles. I'd prefer that over using the Photoshop patterns. Don't run out of time though. I know that hopefully you've been working on this since for a couple days here, but if not, just kind of get it done. I like that one. I made that from the last demonstration. Okay, yeah, we got all those patterns. So the very last thing you want to do before you save this, I'm not going to do this because it's just a little paperwork. You want to name all of these. So this is the lime. This is like targets. This would be like lines and dots, I guess. Just come up with some names, descriptive names, pumpkins or gourds. I guess I will do them all. This is black and white. Squares, and this is gravel. And double check that the instructions tell you to do this. If I got it wrong in this video, follow the directions. 2 lines. Photoshop Lig 1 for legacy. Photo. I spelled that right. Photoshop Lig 2 and contact sheet. And so the last bit, turn off the eyeballs and all these things just so that I can see through. Got to save it right. So I'm going to put it where I can find it. And in this case, this should be assignment 5 this semester. So 5 dash last name dash first name dash, this is my first one, 01. Remember, I will only look at and grade the last one. So if you do 8 of these things, make sure that number 8's the best one. If later you decide, oh no, it's not due yet, number 4 was the best one, Save it out again as 9. I will look at that one. I will grade that one. I'm not going to be going through and digging through all of these things trying to find the perfect one. I'm going to assume that you knew what you were doing and you turned them in as they got better. So make sure that's right. Don't put a 0 at the beginning of this. Don't use like underscores, use dashes. When all of you guys do it the exact same way, it is so much faster for me to grade it. It keeps me in such a better mood that I'm just so much more generous with points on that. Oh, isn't that great? Everyone wants those points. Go ahead and tell it save, and that's ready to turn in the lab. Okay, hopefully these videos will help you guys. Sorry that the first time through was so fast. We're running short on time, but we should be okay next class. I believe we should be well set for time. This will be a fun one. We'll just be showing off your best couple of these things. Make sure that your favorite ones are seamless, that they wrap around well, that they don't have any weird banding patterns going on, that they're just, you know, a really solid kind of pattern. I think you can do better than any of these examples. Usually I've been told by students that do the stellar work, each of these patterns took them around like 45 minutes on average. This is a long assignment. So just plan for that and start getting going. And I'll see you all soon. You have a great one. Bye.